Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. We got 6 lies America told me about Europe, life in the UK. I've skipped ahead like 30 seconds because I could tell this dude was going on about some kind of intro or something. I don't know. It's International Carl, though. Thanks for the video. I appreciate it. What the? Whoa, that was cool. Okay, here we go.
Let's talk about it right now. Let's get to it right now.
Yeah, right now.
Lie number one.
All right.
This one is a funny one to me because in the United States, it's always, I don't care if you're a Democrat, I don't care if you're a Republican, I don't care if you're independent, I don't care where you're at on the political spectrum. You're always going to have a politician telling you that
they hate our freedoms, our freedom of religion, our freedom of speech, our freedom to vote and assemble and disagree with each other.
That's right.
Ooh, okay. Wow. We're really jumping in like that. Okay. I guess I'll listen to what he has to say. I do feel like that clip was in the context of like terrorism. Yeah.
They hate us for our...
Like, I don't think that about Europeans. No one ever told me Europeans hate my freedom, but maybe that's how this guy interpreted it. I don't know.
Freedoms. Can you believe that? As if nowhere else in the world has any freedoms. Like Europe. You know, in Europe they act like, they act...
Maybe he's not talking about that clip specifically, but I can't help but take be a little bit bothered by that because that clip is not talking about Europeans. Like George W., he wasn't talking about Europeans. But let me just think. I mean, there is like a general sentiment, I guess, in America that like our freedoms, like other countries, aren't as free in general. Freedom of speech and stuff. Second Amendment type stuff. Yeah. They hate us for it. But I never got the idea that they hate us for that, other than maybe in the context of like terrorism, like hates our whole culture here in America. Like that's definitely a thing that, especially back then during 9/11 and stuff. But I do know that Europeans, like, for the most part, disagree with like the Second Amendment and of the United States, the right to bear arms, and I'm trying to think of what other freedoms. I think most would agree with freedom of speech. They have a relatively similar freedom of speech in most places in Europe. All right, let's just continue.
Like if you come to Europe, there's just no freedoms. What freedoms do I not have here in Europe? You know, as these are Western democracies with Western values and culture that has been exported to the United States. And it's become its own thing. I'm not saying one is better than the other, but freedoms exist here. I'm still scratching my head. What freedom do you have in America that I don't have here?
Wow. Okay. This is kind of like, this could get controversial. I'm trying to think of like what exactly, like I don't have like a super strong opinion. But if he wants an answer to that, I would say that, like in the United States, freedom of speech goes so far as to be like you can be a Nazi here, you know? Everybody hates Nazis, but you can be one here. Whereas in Germany, for instance, like I know like flying that kind of like the swastika and stuff, like that would be illegal from what I understand. I'm not the most, I'm not pretending to be some kind of like super, I'm somewhat ignorant. I'm not an expert on this topic, but I do know that in Germany that's like illegal, and it kind of makes sense. But still, in America, like the freedom of speech goes as far to be like, I might hate what you have to say and disagree with it entirely, but I stand up for your right to say it. You know what I mean? That thing. And that was a lot more so the sentiment in America 20 years ago. There somehow freedom of speech is like now a controversial issue. I don't really know where that came from in America. That's kind of surprising, but It's also weird. I just have to say, it's also weird how freedom of speech in America used to be a liberal issue. Like the ACLU would fight for freedom of speech. You know, it used to be mostly about how conservatives were trying to censor liberals on in music and television, movies, video games. Now it's kind of like the other way around, where freedom of speech is more like, oh, you must be a Republican. Like, it's weird how that worked out. But I'm gonna let this guy continue.
Let's talk about freedom of speech, for example. In America, you have freedom of speech. In the UK, for example, you don't have freedom of speech. What you do have is freedom of expression. Slight different tweak, but let's give you an example. In America, you can be as racist as you want to somebody. You can walk up to me, walk up to any black person and say the N word.
You can be as racist as you want, like with your words and your expression. Meaning, like expression is like broadly interpreted, and that is in the and the Constitution has been interpreted for speech to mean expression as well in America. So as far as waving a flag, you know, that kind of expression, art. But you're not allowed to discriminate against someone as far as hiring them for a job, giving them a mortgage, their pay. You know, you're not allowed to commit violence, these sorts of things. You're not allowed to discriminate even at a business. You can't kick someone out for that reason. You can kick anyone out you want, but it better not be for that reason of like that you're racist. All right, that's
all day long if you want. Where in the UK, you really couldn't do that because at some point you will cross a fine line of inciting racial hatred. So if you define your freedoms based on your ability to call somebody an N-word or call some Asian.
Yeah, I do want to be clear as he's saying this because it's I'm not trying to make any kind of political stance or something here, guys. I'm just saying, if you literally take like a spectrum of freedom, he just did outline like that. For better or worse, whatever your opinion, America has a little bit more freedom of speech compared to whatever European law or country he's referring to here, where, you know, yeah. So for better or worse, it's a little bit more. Now you might say it's not worth it.
Asian American, some type of offensive word, by all means, you can have that freedom. I don't need that freedom.
Okay, and that's fair enough. You know what I mean? Like that's exactly what I meant. Like it for better or worse. Like maybe you don't want that freedom, but it is a freedom technically. Like it's a little bit more freedom. You know, gets a little dicey there.
But other people in America talk about it like freedom for guns. Ooh, guns. They want to take your guns. Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. Here in the UK, can you have guns? Yes. Can you have a rifle? Yes. Can you have a handgun? Yes. What does the Second Amendment say in the United States? It's highly regulated. So what is it here in the UK? Guess what? It's highly regulated. Second Amendment say in the United States? It's highly regulated.
I don't think in the Second Amendment it says anything about being highly regulated, but if he's saying that gun ownership can be regulated, yes, it can. I'm not familiar at all with European gun laws other than that they are much more strict and there's a lot less guns. So I don't. It's kind of similar to the freedom of speech where it's like, yeah, like you're right, like gun violence and stuff in America is a huge issue, and it is in part because we have a less restrictive regulatory environment on guns. And whether or not that's a good thing, I don't know, but it is a little bit more of a freedom toward the freedom side. Better or worse, I don't know.
What is it here in the UK? Guess what? It's highly regulated. There's lots of regulations around what type of gun, where you have to store that gun, where you have to keep the ammunition, what do you have to do for the maintenance of that gun. Highly regulated. So you still have the freedom to have a gun. So if you define your freedoms as big,
I mean, it's certainly an interesting discussion to have. I'm not the one to to have it with. I don't own a gun, so I'm not even that. I'm not like out here trying to freaking debate about it.
Being able to have as many guns as you want in America, okay, fine, no argument. But I think that's a lie that they sell, that nobody here has any guns.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, it's probably exaggerated, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the statistics.
Not true. Number two, social housing is a bad thing. It's something that you're supposed to segregate from the rest of the population. So, for example, in America, especially in LA where I'm from, or Southern California where I'm from, social housing, Section 8. Well, that's usually in a separate side of the city, not being seen. I don't even know where it's at, because where I grew up was nothing but beautiful homes, single family homes, no social housing. We're here in the UK.
Oh, let him
Just
finish.
in Europe in general, it's all sprinkled around you. For example, here in the UK, I live in a beautiful big house, beautiful executive style estate. I have a nice car, but guess what? On this estate and on several new estates,
Weird flex, but okay.
they all have social housing, and they do things that are different in the United States, or that they do here in the UK, that they wouldn't do or they don't do in the United States. You can be on social housing, but guess what? You can partially own that house. So that way you can be on the track. So you can buy 10% of the home, 20% of the home.
This sounds good to me. I mean, yeah, social housing in America is like a total failure. So yeah, fix it.
50% of the home, and try to get all the way up to 100% of the home like me or you do. So that's a different strategy that they do, so that social housing is good for everybody, because that way the kids get to interact with all people from all social and religious economic backgrounds. And you as an adult get to work and meet.
My first thought about it is that they would get, more of an opportunity going to a good school,
And mingle with people from all different backgrounds. I think the neighborhoods are better
which
for
is
it.
good.
You're safer for it.
I like that.
Less crime, because guess what? If you're in an executive style estate, well, guess what? You want to keep your home value high. You want to keep it nice and looking new. And that's going to put pressure on the social housing to also keep their house nice, keep the estate looking nice and new and fresh.
Interesting point. You could easily just flip that around and say, I mean, that is what at the end of the day, like, most of it's about, like, property valuations and stuff. Like, you don't want some low end housing being built right next to your fancy freaking house. Which, trust me, I don't have a fancy house, but so I don't. I don't think this isn't my issue. I'm just saying that is that you could just flip it around and say, it puts pressure on them to make it nice. Well, maybe it could also just bring down the nice houses might get less nice, might put pressure on them to move somewhere else or something. But hey, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that. It sounds good to me.
So I think that's a myth, and I think that's something that should be revisited in the United States.
I like that. I like that.
3, in America, they teach you this, that somehow being a hard worker means coming in early, staying late, never taking a vacation, and definitely don't call in sick. That is like the biggest mistake you could ever make, faux pas you can make. I'll give you an example. When I was working for a large airframe manufacturer in the United States, I remember a friend of mine, we wanted to take 2 weeks off and go do something. Our managers looked at us like we were crazy because we wanted to have the audacity to take 2 weeks off. And mind you, we didn't take any days off prior to that. We just wanted to take 2 weeks off in a year so we could go do something. They were like, no, rejected, slim that down to a week. And I'm thinking, isn't that my time off to relax, to recharge my battery so I can come back?
I'm all for the workers' rights, y'all.
Back to work? No. Now, I think minds and hearts have changed a little bit in the United States back from when I started working, back in the early 2000s, or mid-2000s, I should say. But that was a faux pas. Well, here in the United Kingdom and here in Europe, for example, it's encouraged to take time off.
I don't know if I would say that's a lie told about Europe. To be honest, if anything, we're told like, hey, in Europe, like in France, did you know they get like 4 weeks off paid vacation mandatory and stuff? Like, and we're like, damn, that must be nice. It must be nice.
You get 20, 25 plus days off in mostly all European countries. I think by law in the European Union, you have to have 20 days off. So it's encouraged to take time off because
It
either
must
you
be
use
nice.
it or you lose it.
My phone is going
And for
crazy.
example, I think Sweden, if I can find the article, it's on the screen now. But if not, Sweden is actually doing a trial where they're reducing the work hours to 6 hours to see if it increases productivity. Because
Ooh, that'd be
employees,
awesome.
employers are seeing that the employees are more rested and more focused when they come back to work. Number
There's probably some truth to that.
4, America sells you this, that capitalism and consumerism go hand in glove. It's like this cycle. You have to work to buy, to work again to pay for what you to buy some more stuff, to then work again and go down this continuous loop of working to live.
I'm kind of interested to see what the lie is here.
And in Europe,
Obviously, you could like also invest your money and retire early or start a business and try to like make a bunch of money and not have to work, which obviously some people out there are living the dream like that in America.
one of the things that I find I think is a beauty and a benefit of working and living in Europe is that there's more of a work-life balance. As I just talked about in point number 3, is that you have time off to actually do stuff. And you don't just have this endless working to consume. Don't get me wrong. We go on vacation, so we're consuming what I would call, we are consuming experiences, but we don't live to work, we work to live.
I think this point he could have refined that a little bit if this was like a pitch, if he's trying to run for president or something. He could have refined that. I see what he's getting at. It's pretty similar to the last point. It sounds like basically, like he said in there somewhere, it's like a better work-life balance. And that's probably good. That's a good thing for most people. Most people could use that. Yeah, but you still obviously have to work and produce, like have high productivity in your country enough for you guys to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? But so people got to work, but yeah, it's a balance.
And
I
that
agree.
is a benefit of living in Europe, and I think that is great. And I think the U.S. sells a lie to its people by telling them that you have to work hard to then buy stuff and never do anything.
I agree. There's way too much materialism in America, and I would say there's too much in the whole world, but probably especially in America. Damn. The amount of like designer clothes and name brands and stuff and this new phone and crap people buy. When I agree, I would so much rather go whitewater rafting or something fun, go to the beach, go skydiving, go up on the paragliding, whatever. Parasailing is what I meant. Yeah, experiences like that are a better way to spend your hard-earned money than just buying a new phone. The phones have gotten good enough where I don't think I ever need a new phone. You know what I'm saying? Like it used to be, they used to get a lot faster. Now I have like 2-3 cameras on the phone. That's enough.
Number 5, which kind of ties into the first one I said, but it really is on the Republican right side in America. They always
Shots
preach,
fired.
especially during the Obamacare era, 2012, was all about these death panels. They literally produced a video where they were throwing grandma off a cliff because of social medicine.
Oh gosh.
Make no mistake about it. President Obama and the Democrats who supported Obamacare began throwing seniors off the cliff back.
The evils of social medicine that you were going to have
That is one thing I'm very like strongly in favor of. If I think there should be social anything. It makes perfect sense to me. Education, like, and then, given to the needy, and then obviously like healthcare. Like if we're all going to band together and pay for something through the government, that's what our taxes should probably go for. That's probably the number one thing. Might be the number one thing that makes sense to me.
Death panels.
I agree.
If you got
The death panels. I remember that. Whoops, sorry.
sick. I mean, how ridiculous of a lie that is. I mean, it's a bold-faced lie. I've lived here 11, 12 years. I have yet to
You're not
ever
on a
sit
death panel.
I have known some older people. I know some younger people. I know myself. You can walk into any hospital in any country in Europe and there's not a single death panel. What do you expect them to say? Oh, sorry, you had a heart attack last year, Mr. Carl, but since you had one last year, we're not going to treat you for this heart attack because the panel has refused your care. On a side note, you kind of already have that in America. You just have it through the insurance companies.
I agree. It's just a middleman. Like they're literally just skimming profits off the top. Take them out and reinvest those profits back into the system, make everything a little cheaper. Healthcare is outrageous. There's so many intermediaries taking profits off the top. I agree.
Guess what they do? Decide not to cover you. They say, it's a pre-existing condition. I don't think you can do that anymore, but they'll say that, or they'll find a way to deny coverage. They'll make it so high.
That's so true.
To cost to do it that you have to do it out of
pocket. It's so bad.
Now you're bankrupt. So that loops right back to number one. How are you free if you have to live with the pressure of going bankrupt and not being able to pay your bills? Because guess what? You have the audacity to break your hip, get sick.
Well, that's an instance where I'd say, yeah, you might be more free, but it's not worth the trade-off. Like the freedom comes in that you are not being forced to pay the extra taxes toward the healthcare, but I would say it's worth it because you're probably already paying that much or more to your insurance company and then to the hospital anyway, because the insurance covers like nothing.
I don't know. You pick it. So those are the 5 things that I think that the United States lies or misleads its people on purpose to
definitely some of that.
Whatever big business or whatever political agenda that they have to the people.
That's for sure.
I'm going to leave you with a bonus one.
Oh, bonus.
Which is kind of strange if you look at it.
What is it?
Because number 6 is this. In America, every day, all students around the nation get up every morning and say the Pledge of Allegiance. You pledge yourself and align yourself to the United States flag and to the republic.
Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
For which it stands. Now, that's not something that's common in Europe. In many Western countries, I don't know of any other Western country that makes its kids get up every morning. I do know of one back in 1938, 1942-ish time. Those kids used to get up and actually pledge allegiance to their flag and to their Führer. But I don't know if that's something we should
he went there.
necessarily be doing. Don't get me wrong, I love my country. I'm very patriotic about it.
I think it's kind of like I'm trying to think of the logical fallacy, then it's like a false equivalency or something to say, just because Hitler did it. Hitler also probably ate pizza. That doesn't mean eating pizza is bad, but I do agree. However, despite the logical fallacy, this is how my brain works. Despite that logical fallacy, I still agree with the point. It's kind of stupid. I mean, it's pretty stupid. I'm being honest. It's pretty stupid. Just as a general principle, it's kind of creepy.
Love the 4th of July for all my country is never perfect, but I think it can get better. But that's mine.
Of course, you don't have to do it. But in the South, if you don't do it, they'll probably find some kind of way to get you in trouble or something, send you down to detention or the principal's office or something. You know what I'm saying? All right. Well,
hit me in the comments. Tell me what you think.
I enjoyed that video. There's some good arguments in there. International Carl, I like that. I hope nobody took anything I said too offensive or anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be offensive or anything. I don't even think I had too many strong opinions about it. I agreed with a lot of it. Some of it was a little bit meh, but overall, cool video. And thank you for watching. Wow, 25 minutes. Okay, thank you for sticking around this long. Wow. You know what? You just want a lollipop. You can come pick it up at the corner market down the street. Okay? Goodbye. Thank you. Subscribe maybe? I don't know. Bye.